This is the Note Closers Show, where you get the latest developments in distressed note investing and learn the secrets of how you can control millions of dollars worth of property for pennies on the dollar. Get educated and entertained by someone who has closed thousands of deals and lives to support you in achieving the same. Now, here's your host, CEO of We Close Notes, Scott Carson.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Hope you are doing well. It is actually National Calendar Day. So hopefully you're out there, got a busy Tuesday, knocking some stuff out. It's also at National Toofer Day as well, I believe. Tooth Fairy. Oh, Tooth Fairy. I thought it was Toofer. Tooth Fairy can take two of your teeth. There we go. Call it there even, huh, everybody? But anyway, so you guys are all hopefully out there making some things happen. A little reverberation back there, but it is Tuesday. Hopefully you're out rocking and rolling, making some things happen. Today we're going to talk a little bit about performing notes, but I have to go through a couple things with everybody out there. We had a great webinar last night with our usual Note Night in America. We had two interesting characters with Mark Gold and Mahir Allen, or Matt Allen, as he likes to be called as well. And so we're excited for the Distressed Mortgage Expo taking place. Now, they've got a very special discount. If you want to go to note.guru and get signed up for the the September 16th and 17th event taking place in Orange County with 300 plus note investors, about 30 different speakers, you can go to note.guru and use the special discount code WCN40 for We Close Notes, all caps, WCN40 to get $40 off of your ticket there. Now, I'll be speaking out there with a variety of other amazing speakers, presenters. They got a little bit of motivation. Our buddy Greg Reed is coming out from Think and Grow Rich and Secret Knot. And literally looking forward to networking with so many individuals. I know there's a large percentage of already Carsonites going to the event. And we're always looking forward to hang out and networking and actually spend some time in Southern California as well. Room blocks are still available. So if you're looking to reserve a hotel room, do so. You can find it at the bottom of the Eventbrite page. But I had a great time with those guys last night on the Note Night in America webinar. We talked a little bit briefly during the webinar about our upcoming Note Funding League draft. So if you're listening to us on iTunes, what we like to do here at We Close Notes on a regular basis is we like to offer up notes available for sale. We get different tapes in that we look at buying for our own portfolio. Others send them in that we look to help them move. Now, one of the great things that we come across a lot of times are non-performing notes, which is our biggest, I can say, our bread and butter, but also a lot of performing notes. And this Thursday, what date is that? August 24th, we'll be focused on showing off about 50 assets, 50 performing notes that'll be breaking down Thursday evening from basically 7 to 9 p.m. Now, these notes came from a private seller. A private fund has a ton of, these are actually performing contract for deeds. Now, a contract for deed is very similar to a note, is that the seller has, or the owner of the property has offered up financing to a buyer. Now, most of the time we see a lot of contract for deeds are large funds where they bought large pools of REOs that are sub $75,000 in value, and they're looking to sell these off, but they don't want to go through the expensive and time-consuming, costs to foreclose on the borrower. So it's more of like a rent-to-own, I guess you could say. They have a normal mortgage payment, they're paying the taxes, the insurance, but they aren't actually in ownership of the deed of the property until they have paid the loan off. Now, what's great is in most cases, most states, you're evicting versus foreclosing. So it's a much faster process. But what's also nice is that as real estate investors, especially if you're in the note game, ultimately, you're probably looking more so than anything else to end up with a performing note, right, everybody? Mm-hmm. If you buy a non-performing note, your goal is to get it worked out and hopefully get them to re-perform with you. Now, that's a beautiful thing. Now, a lot of people, depending on what their investment model is or what their goals are, if they're working full time or they're looking more for passive income, buying performing notes is a great business model for them. They can buy something, it just starts turning cash flow, helping them make somewhere between an 8 to 15% yield on their money, depending on the asset, and they're happy. Hey, I need that. So maybe they're living on a fixed income, or they're at the point where they're like, I'm happy making 12, where I have to do very little work. My time is valuable to me. Boom, shakalaka. Okay. Now, one of the great things that we love here is we like taking the non-performing stuff and get it reperforming. Now, one of the great things, we had 2 borrowers contact us yesterday. We actually had a city contact us that one of the borrowers was trying to put a daycare. And I think that the landlord or the property owner permission to sign off on the borrower doing a daycare, which is great. We'll follow up a phone call to that person today. But what's great about those things is we bought those at non-performing prices, okay? At non-performing prices with the goal to have them turn into performing. And so the yield is going to be phenomenal, and is phenomenal on the ones that we're seeing, usually 20% or greater. Now, that's how we kind of model our business, especially with all of these contract for deals. We're looking for people that have been paying on time or paying in the last 12 months. And it's turned out that some of these assets that we've bought, people have been paying on time. They've not gone delinquent, that's a true win-win for us, right, everybody? It's makes an easy day, makes an easy return of in the mid-20s and going from there. But if performing notes is your bag, all right, or your big hat, you want to toss me the big hat over there and we'll do that, okay? If it's your hat, trust me, you're looking to buy deals that's going to turn into something good that you'll basically just, put a big hat on and have a nice siesta, have a nice celebration. You'll do a little Mexican hat dance because the deals you're buying, you're happy with. They turn into a really great ROI for you, for your IRA or your passive income. Now, a lot of investors, yes, I know I look a little silly with a big hat on. Right here, there we go. Let's get it properly here. All right, it's not National Hat Day, is it?
No, but we can make it.
We can make it National Note Hat Day. But anyway, a lot of investors, especially when they're getting into the game, they want to make some income, and you've got cash flow that you need to have. So one of the great things that you can do is, if you're looking at non-performing tapes and you have somebody that sends you a performing tape, oftentimes people that have had notes for a long time are willing to take a bit of a discount even on a performer to get them moved. All right. So I'll give you an example. We're moving some assets right now where the seller wants 81% of the remaining balance on a performing note. Well, that's really a 20% kicker. So if it's already at a 9% coupon rate and it's about a 20% kicker, what does that come to? Well, 20% of 9% turns into about a 12% return for everybody. Okay. That's not bad. It's not the greatest, but if you've got money sitting on the sideline making you 0 or making you 1% or less than 12%, you might as well put your money into something that's going to return you good returns. So sometimes you've got to take your hat off of what you're normally wearing and get a little creative and flip the switch around a little bit to something that makes a little bit more sense for you. Wow, that looks really huge that way, doesn't it? All right, so we're going to go take care of the hat and give it back to you there. But anyway, for those that are watching on or listening on iTunes, put on a big Mexican sombrero hat there to do a hat dance. But so one of the things that we do, or I haven't done it in a while, but one of the things I started doing early on is I would identify sellers of performing notes that wanted to see a 12 to 15% yield, and I would go out and bring in somebody else's funds that wanted to make 6 to 8%. And I would arbitrage that difference. And it's a pretty simple thing to do. You find somebody who's happy making 6% or 8%, and you find an investment that's going to be paying 12 or 15. They're paying 15%, and somebody wants, 8. You can take that extra 7% and put it in your pocket. Very easy to do. There are many, many self-directed IRA investors who would be happy with an 8% yield on their money or 6%. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. Now, how do you find those individuals? You've got to market for them. All right. You have to literally market on a regular basis. It means going out and networking at IRA events. This means actually marketing out to lists of on the county assessor's website or the county appraisal districts or the county clerks for people who have made loans out of their IRAs to find out what kind of return they're looking for. Because if they can get a 6% or 8% return, oftentimes they'll pull the trigger on that. So if you're watching this on Facebook Live, now would be the time to ask some questions for you so that we can help answer when it comes down to it. So one of the great strategies I like doing as well is taking a non-performing note, get it reperforming, okay? So it's got a great yield, and then bringing in cheap money. And by cheap money is somebody who wants that low return, 6 to 8%, and arbitraging either my funds out of the deal or my investors' funds out of deals. Give them their money back. They're good to go. They're happy. They made a good return. We can turn around and double down, buy 2 more assets with those funds or whatever. And knowing that I've got this other investor who's, hey, happy making 8%. Now the performing note may be at 15. I'm still bringing in 7% to me for my work to stay in the deal. My investor's making 8% and they're happier than a pig and slop. Okay. What's so funny, Greg? Just the pig and slop. Blah. All right. Who doesn't like pigs and slop, right? Because I wouldn't eat pigs and slop. That's just a dirty animal. But anyway, allows for you to really make money from money, though. A lot of people are like, well, I don't have money for my own money or money for my own investments. Look, there's so much private money sitting out there not making anything. We were at a Quest IRA event this weekend, and Nathan Long and Nate here shared with us that they have $1.2 billion under management. $1.3 billion under management. 270 million of it is making zero. Gracious is right. You know, what are their opportunity costs? How much money are they losing every year? So let's figure that. Greg, you got your calculator there working. So what is $270 million? All
right.
Okay, times 0.08.
21,600,000.
21 million. So those people wanted to make an 8% return.
Wow.
They're missing on 21 million. Okay, that is a lot. Yes, when you put in those big numbers like that, but let's figure it out. 100 grand. 100 grand times 8%. Well, we know what that is. That's eight grand a year, right? So 8 grand a year, divide that by 12. $667, exactly. So there's a lot of opportunity there. If you've got somebody who's got 100 grand in the sidelines, wants to make 8%, all you've got to do is go find out an investment for 100 grand that's bringing in more than $700 a month on average. So if you got to find an investment, a performing note that's bringing in 12%, let's do the numbers on that. Very easy. 12% means they get 12 grand. They want 12 grand, or it's paying out 12 grand a year in income. That's $1,000 a month. Well, if you've got an investor who's wanting to make 8, they want to see $667 basically on average per month. That's a $333 difference that can go in your pocket. All right. That's not bad. Now, you're not going to get rich off of that. But if you've got rent, what's your rent? You mind me asking? $1,500? $1,800. So you need 6 of these notes basically performing to cover your house payment.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't take a lot to do that.
It comes in my clockwork once it's.
That's correct, Greg. Exactly right. A monkey could collect on performing notes. Now, of course, you're going to pay a servicing fee, $20-$30 from a servicer like Madison or even FCI, something that's going to be very cheap. And you got to figure that into your costs as well. But you can get some maximum returns by doing very little effort if you needed to. There's a lot of people that do that arbitrage all day long. I like performing notes. I go out and they spend time finding cheap money and then go find better deals, and they put themselves between the two. So we have any questions from those on Facebook Live? If you're watching or listening on iTunes, you're always welcome to ask questions by emailing me at scott@weclosenotes.com as well.
Oh, yeah, a couple comments.
Yep.
Todd up here. Great information. Is that if you have no money in the deal, how many deals can you do? All of them.
Yep.
That's good.
Well, and your return, if it's not your own money or you're using somebody else's money, your return is a sideways 8. That's infinite. Exactly. Infinite returns to you for your time. Now, the reason you always want to see probably around a 4% difference between what the deal is paying and your money fund is that's going to give you plenty of room in case of a hiccup or two. All right.
Lisa says, sometimes I just need to hear you tell me the obvious. The obvious gets lost in all the cray stuff.
Lisa, who said?
Who's
Lisa DeGuzman, our good buddy out of Ohio, up the neck of the woods. There, it is a cray world, all right. I'll tell you that, everybody. Hashtag cray. Cray world. Let's do that. Hashtag cray world. Because look, there's so many different ways to skin a cat when it comes to note investment. And Steph's going to hold me accountable for that.
She's watching. She's watching.
Oh, that's great. Awesome. Great. Good stuff. So there's so many ways to make money in the note business. A lot of people forget that, hey, sometimes you find a deal that's paying good, and you find cheap money, and you just put the two together and make it a true win-win. It's actually a win-win-win. It's a win for the seller who's getting rid of the asset. It's a win for the investor who's making good returns. Of course, it's a win for you being in the middle of that proverbial investor sandwich. All right? Making things. You're the hot dog in between the investor buns. Well, that kind of sounds weird, but anyway. Researching a performing note deal. Of course, you still do the main three things. You want to make sure of value. Okay? Always check value. Never trust a seller's BPO. So always check value. You want to make sure you're still buying a note below property value. Okay? 2, you always got to check taxes. That's an important thing because taxes can wipe you up very easily. 3, checking title. All right? That means having the seller provide an O&E report, or you go get an O report. Make sure it's still clear. Make sure you're buying a first lien. Now, there's some people that like to buy second liens. You can do that. Yeah, they're cheaper. But if you're going to do all the work, I would rather get a $500 check versus a $50 check each month. Okay? When you think about it. Plus, you want to be in a first lien position. So if something does go wrong, you control that aspect versus in a second lien position. If the first stops paying, you're at the mercy of the first. So those are the three biggest things. And then 4th, always make sure you're buying a performing note that is serviced with a licensed servicer. I have talked to several people who've contacted me in the last month. Hey, I got some notes for sale, and I'm not. That's the first time I'm asking. Okay, how much seasoning and who's servicing the loan? I'm like, well, we're servicing the loan. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not worth anything then. Now, if you are a licensed servicer, great. If you're only licensed in the state you're doing stuff, that's great. That works. As long as you've got that paperwork and that documents to prove payment history. Self-servicing is not a great thing to do because it's very easy to get goofy on the paperwork, and you can lose value and stuff, especially if you have to come around to foreclose. And if you've not been doing a good job on the paperwork and servicing side, you can lose a lot of value very quickly. So performing notes is a great way to make some great returns. You're not going to usually see a 24% or 30% return on a performing note. That's one thing to keep in mind. I was talking with an investor Friday, and he's like, oh, I'm going to make some offers on these notes, and I want to see a 30% yield. And I'm like, no offense, you're smoking crack. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, no offense, 30%. Why would they ever sell that? If they're going to sell it 30%, I'll buy the whole damn thing. I'm going to let you do it. I'll go buy it myself. Because, well, they're lower valued and with the servicing costs figured in and my risk, my adverse version to risk. I'm like, well, that's fine, but don't be surprised when the seller comes back and counters back or just doesn't counter at all because you're way low balling. Now, normal side, when we deal with performing note or non-performing notes that we eventually look to sell off after 12 months of seasoning, we'll usually see a sales price somewhere in the 85% range, sometimes closer to 90% of value of that loan once we've got that seasoning. Now, usually most note buyers that are buying reperforming want to see 12 months of seasoning and want to see somewhere between a 12 to 15% yield. Now, I know we're going through a lot of things. As always, we have our regular scheduled virtual note buying workshop. For those that are listening watching on Facebook, I'd love to have you come out and join us Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's August 25th, 26th, and 27th. This Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have a big contingency of California investors being a part of it, so we'll start a little bit later at 10 o'clock Central Time and go till about 6 o'clock. But it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll spend a large chunk of time actually going through some performing notes because we'll actually be previewing the 40 assets that we'll be going through on Thursday night during our Note Funding League draft that we go through and break down and review. So it'll give the people from the virtual workshop opportunity to bid on assets first and foremost versus just strangers. So we're excited about that. That's always a good thing. Now, a company that buys a lot of performing notes that we'll have somebody on actually through upcoming note camp here in how many days?
I think it's like 51 days.
Yeah, we're like 51 days out from our virtual convention, Note Camp. You see the sign behind me here. Note Camp stands for Content, Actions, Marketing, and Profits. It's 4 keys of the note business. Content, you got to have content, quality content. We're not talking a pitch fest, all right? Content for most people doing things. Actions, giving you the things that they do on a daily, weekly, sometimes hourly basis to make these happen. Big M, marketing, because it's all about marketing in the business today. You got to be marketing to find deals. You be marketing to find buyers. You'll be marketing to find private capital. And P, we do all these things to make profits. So what are the things that we can do besides the content, actions, and marketing to drive profits to our note business? And sometimes profits are all just about, hey, taking over a cash flow, a cash stream. You know, you be the J.G. Wentworth show, you know, as far as getting, you know, taking over a payment stream. And that's what notes are. Some people like partials. I don't like partials personally. I think I'm going to do all that work. I might as well just buy the whole thing to make things easier. Now, I'm going to say something. Somebody's always asking me, well, where you can talk about partials? No, I don't waste my time with partials. It's great. It's a very small niche. If you want to deal with partials, you can reach out to First National Acceptance Corporation, who will buy a lot of notes. They're one of the biggest note buyers out there for performing notes. And they'll often up in their bidding process, not only a purchase offering for the whole performing note, but they'll also give you a partial quote. Usually entitles about payments for 4 to 6 years. Okay. And we'll have Daniel or Andy on again on the podcast here before too long to go through a lot of that. So, any questions for anybody out there?
No, everybody's really liking this information though.
They're liking this information.
Liking it, yeah.
You know, performing notes it's an easy game. It's an easy bag, baby. Performing notes is my bag, baby. Austin Note Powers, right? We need a graphic for that. I think we need it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Notes is my bag, baby. Yeah, there we go. That's how you get your mojo back in your note investing. Ooh, that's a good one. There you go. Get your real estate mojo back. Notes is my bag, baby. It's not even Marketing Monday. We're rocking this stuff out. Exactly. It's always marketing. Of course, I got the cast and crew, the marketing minions in the office here as always. We are rocking and rolling along. One of the things that we do, so those that are listening for the first time on iTunes, is we do have pretty much monthly note drafts. Sometimes it's every 2 weeks. Sometimes it's once a month. And what we do is, Just depends on what's coming in that makes sense. Mm-hmm. We get a lot of stuff that gets sent our way, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's old crap. Or, oh, yeah, that's some good stuff. We'll market it, or we'll buy that stuff first. And whatever we don't buy, we'll mark it off for everybody else. So what we do is when we get a list in, Greg, Nicole, and Jen are working through stuff. So, Greg, what are some of the things you're focused on this tape, just to give everybody an idea?
I was pulling beds, baths, photos, rent rates. That's about as far as I've gotten on this one so far. Still going to keep working on it, but.
So that we get a list of addresses, and we map it. We're looking at photos. We'll identify a single family home or mobile home. Make sure in your spreadsheet you make sure if it's a mobile home, because they didn't put that in there. But beds, baths, square footage, basically Zillow information on that. Give you a rough idea of value, and a rough idea, it means basically an online valuation. You're still going to need to pull your own values if you're going to make offers, but going from there, we try to give some sort of price expectations as well too, so you can kind of see what kind of yield ROI you can see on that stuff as well. And we talk about the market. Hey, this has been performing for 6 months, or this has been performing for 4 years. Now, that's the beautiful thing about this tape this Thursday is that 40 some assets out of the 55 have at least 12 months or more of seasoning. Some have 4 years of seasoning. So that's a pretty good payment history. Yeah. Okay. There's a few that have been scratch and dent, been some hit and miss. The guy pays slow every month, but he pays every month. Sometimes he always catches up. They've got some other information in the spreadsheets there of taxes and insurance if it's escrowed in as well. They're handled by, I think, Evergreen Servicing is the servicing company's handling this stuff. So we're looking forward to that. We try to pull photos online as best we can and make it kind of easier, because some people are more visual when they come to learning, right? Other people are more numbers based, like spreadsheet based. I like spreadsheets. It's like my matrix. I can see through the lines, right? Huh?
I said you love spreadsheets.
I love me some spreadsheets. Just call me Mr. Excel because I excel at it. All right. Oh, yes, exactly. So let's talk about a few things. If you're a note investor, what are some of the things, expenses that you're going to have along the way that people need to figure into their ROI calculators? All right. Well, one of the great things, good stuff. All right. So one of the great things you have to keep in mind is obviously servicing costs, right? Recording costs. All right. Because you're going to need to get the assignment recorded. Now, that's not really that expensive, but it's still, what's it cost? What's it cost us to e-file?
It depends on the county. It can range anywhere from 18 to.
Well, the assignments are 18, but the
Depending on the county,
is like
the
a
fees
CF.
can run up to 60 and 80.
Yeah.
So it's $100 or less usually.
So less than $100. Usually around $25
Right.
to get things rocking and rolling. All right, to get recorded. Servicing costs $20 to $30 a month. Depends on who the servicer is. You'll need to find that out whether you're using Madison Management, and we love Madison. They do a great job. Oftentimes there's a boarding fee involved too. You have to keep in mind. Now sometimes servicers will waive that boarding fee if you're bringing on a chunk of notes to them, if you're brand new or they run different promotions throughout the year. So that's a kind of a good thing. Now, the one thing that you want to do, if it's a performing note, you don't really need to have a lot of workouts. So make sure you're probably using, well, I won't recommend this. I'll leave this into the individual's decision. If you're comfortable making the phone and calling if they go late, then just have it client managed. But if you want them to manage the workouts on it, then you're going to want to have the servicer manage, pricing. That's going to be a little bit more expensive, somewhere around 60, 75, $100 a month for them to manage the workouts if they've got to get involved with calling the bar. But hopefully, if you got something that you're buying that's got 12 to 24 to 36 to 48 months of servicing, you won't need any client managed, right? Now, also, you always have the possibility, too, of leaving it and having the existing servicing company retain it on their portfolio, which if you're buying a chunk of notes, you might as well do that. Hey, leave it with a one servicer. If you're buying one or two and you have a major servicer somewhere else, it might be best either to move it over so you've got everything in one kind of contact versus spreading yourself thin across two different vendors. But honestly, in this line of work in the note business, in the long term, you're going to have probably 3 to 4 servicers that you work with on a regular basis. It just depends on the portfolios you're buying, service quality. Some are better at performing than they are at non-performing, and just works out that way. Any questions or comments from anybody on there? No? Cool stuff. Good stuff. So if you're interested, you can go to weclosenotes.com and register on the Buy Notes tab. So literally, if you just go to the website, you should see 3 boxes pop up there at the home page. And you can see where it says Buy Notes. If you click on Buy Notes, it'll take you directly to an opt-in page for the Note Funding League. Just give us your information, your email, first name, last name, cell phone number, and we'll make sure to notify you of when the list is going out. We'll be sending the list out Thursday evening after I go through the deals so that everybody can have just over the weekend to look at stuff. We'll make sure and post the list in Basecamp for those going through the virtual workshop. We'll do that. We'll do that Wednesday to give everybody that's signed up there a little bit of a heads. Actually, no, we'll do it Thursday morning. Just that gives us more time to work through the assets, because that would be tomorrow is Wednesday. It's hard to believe. As always, we are huge fans of our past and present military and first responders. If you're in the military, Coast Guard, or a first responder, EMS, police, firefighter, we'd love to comp you in. We want to say thank you for your service and for helping making America a safe place and protecting us here at home and far away. So if you are, like I said, first responder or past or present military, we'd love to comp you into our workshop that's taking place this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or any of our future virtual note buying workshops that we have. We have one more come November, actually, I believe is the last one, last workshop of the year. So I don't think it's on the calendar yet, but we'll have to throw it up on there.
Should they reach out to you to let us know?
They should either drop me an email, just Scott at We Close Notes, and then I'll forward it over to Nicole or Jen. One thing, if you are a first responder, past or present military, we would love a photo of you in uniform.
It's not required, but we always do like a thank you.
That's correct. We'd like to thank you for your service. So if you are interested in plugging in to workshop, like I said, just go to Scott at WeCloseNotes.com. Drop me an email. We'd glad to comp you in. Otherwise, if you want to get signed up for the performing note draft of this Thursday with the Note Funding League, go to WeCloseNotes.com and sign up for the Buy Notes tab. It will make sure and get you notified of the webinar either later today or tomorrow once things get rocking and rolling. Any other questions or comments from people? Anybody else rock and rolling?
Doing pretty good.
So what we'll do is we'll break down a couple deals. Actually, we've what's great is running into people. Well, not running into people. When you buy a portfolio notes, we've been seeing this. So we the two recent portfolios we bought, which we discussed this on episode 153. It was about the performing case study. We expected these to be non-performing, but the borrowers had made payments on it. So what's great is in the transition, because we're going from one servicer to our servicer, going from National Asset Advisors over to our servicing company, is our servicing company and NAA is sending out letters. NAA is sending out goodbye letters to the borrower. Say, hey, thanks for not paying us. We think you can now not pay management, but now they're also giving the borrowers our contact information. So Jen's been getting a few phone calls from borrowers the last couple of days, and some people have been kind of upset a little bit.
They start off upset.
I guess they don't understand what's going on.
That's exactly right, and that's the reason I say that, though, so people can be prepared. Because like, what you sold my mortgage, or some people are using the wrong term, like canceling in their statements. We're not canceling the contract for deed at all.
But they think we're selling their house.
Right.
Yeah, one lady thought we're selling her house, or we were getting rid of her house, or something like that.
And that's not the case at all. So you had one lady that was quite upset yesterday. You want to talk about that conversation, Jen?
So she called 3 times within 30, 45 minutes. We were in here doing the show. And I came back to a very
Distressed.
not so friendly voicemail. I mean, she wasn't saying anything rude. It was her tone, and you could sense that she was
Distressed in her tone.
Yeah, she's like, you need to call me back, and I need to know what's going on.
Right.
And so I call her. I'm like, hey, this is Jennifer. You know, you called in regards to the loan on your house. She's like, what's going on? I've been paying current. Like, she just starts rambling on, like she's going 90 miles an hour, and she has that. She's just.
I got
It's
to.
not Sweet Home Alabama voice. Let me tell you that much.
And is she from Alabama, or where is she from?
No, she's Indiana.
Indiana, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, but she had that Southern Alabama drawl.
Southern drawl from via north. Okay.
So I let her kind of go on her spiel, and then I was like, well, first of all, you know, our main goal is we want to keep you in your home.
Right.
And so she would kind of changed her tune.
Right.
So we talked a little bit as far as letting her know that our main thing is we had purchased the note, and we wanted to keep her in her home, get her back on the right track to having her home ownership.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't understand that. She was like, what do you mean? I thought you bought this so that y'all could take over my home. And it's like, no, that's not our goal. Our main goal is to keep you in your home, get you back to home ownership, and make sure that you're able to do it
in an affordable manner.
Right. Because I asked her, I was like, are you working? And she's like, yeah, my payment's at this much. I'm supposed to pay for however many months, and then it's going to drop down to this, but I'm on disability, and my husband's a truck driver, so his income isn't, we can't really rely upon it. And I was like, okay, well, let's look and see what we can do. In the meantime, though, we're transitioning from one servicer to another. So I want to make sure that all your information is recorded. So when you get on with our servicer, it's not showing you're backlogged and you're all behind and they're trying to, modify your loan to where you're paying more to get you caught up. I was like, I want everything to be squared away from when you start with us day one. So we have payment receipts coming in. She's happy as could be. She was calling me darling by the end of the conversation. Yeah, it was very.
# note darling.
Yeah, I'm a note darling now. So it went from being a very, the initial conversation was very combative from her to at the end of it, she was like, thank you so much. She's like, I didn't know that they didn't have all my, my information recorded. I thought everything was good, and then all of a sudden I just get this letter saying my contract's voided. Like, I don't understand. So we kind of talked about everything. she ended up telling me, about a couple of her kids. So we had a personal.
In a bonding moment.
Well, I tried to make it personable and let her know we're not just, we have a face to our name. We have a reputation to, we're out to help. We're not out just to take money and run, and, we actually have their best interest at heart. And so, she was telling me about the disability in her husband. And so, we talked about that. And I was like, look, we understand, we're human, we have hearts. You got to make sure you stay and pay on time. But if you ever do run into your problem, you have my contact information. Now you have the servicer's contact information. Call and let us know so we can work something out. Don't just go quiet and think if you don't pay and you don't say anything, everything's going to be okay. It's like, that's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
I already have another phone call from her. I don't even know what it's about. She was just like, hey, Jen, it's me. Call me back.
Oh my gosh. Now you've got a friend.
Yeah. So I'm like,
you've got a friend in me.
So it could be in regards to the payment receipts and stuff, but, and one of the things I've noticed a lot too is, out of the borrowers I've talked to, a lot of them don't necessarily have receipts. They're doing ACH, payments direct. And so they're having a hard time. And one of them went to a Walmart and paid through some payment.
With their Western Union?
Well, she didn't say Western Union, so I don't know if she just wasn't, but she was like, I need to find my receipts. And, so just talking to them and working with them, letting them know, hey, don't stress out,
So if it's done through ACH, though, they should be able to pull bank records for
Well,
that.
that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was like, that's the only way that I guess like the servicer preferred that they did it.
Yeah, that's going to set up monthly to happen
Right.
monthly.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, you can set it up as far as a reoccurring and, and so there's a lot of things we talked about that she wasn't aware of with her old servicer that she's going to be having the opportunity to with our servicer.
Cool.
So yeah, it's actually going really well. We've had a lot of positive feedback. The 3 that we've reinstated, they've all, it's all ended well. And, it's all very personable. I know where they work. I know they're, I know that they have income coming in. I know kind of their situation to where we can do some modifications if we need to. But it's nice. They enjoy, and they've all said it's nice actually having someone to talk to as opposed to some servicing company that just treats me like another person through the door.
Right.
So
the one thing we got to keep in mind with that is we got to hold them accountable to everything. We can't let them take an inch as they'll take a mile.
Right.
And so we've got to give everybody deadlines. We have been. You've been doing a good job with that. Another thing. So one thing, if you throw my video camera back on there, that was great. Good stuff. Yay. I had you on video. That's what I was doing here, my sideways. Yes.
Oh.
That's good. It's all right. Got a face with a name now for those that are out there. So that's the thing is communicate. Now we also dropped letters out on Saturday.
Yes,
We burned a bunch up on Friday. Jen got them dropped out Saturday. Those will start hitting their inboxes today and tomorrow. So don't be surprised when you get more phone calls from people.
Oh, good. And that's the thing too, is not only is NAA referring them to us or where they came from, but our servicer is referring them to us. So they're both getting the same. So my phone has been very jolly lately.
Been very jolly.
Judge Crocker has a comment. Like I said, my latest video, the borrower is going about 52 days without paying on our note, but I am not worried since she has so little left to pay and our servicing is handling all of this. Glad for it. The borrower has done this before and paid 2 months payments to catch up, etc. Let the servicer worry about it and take care of all of this.
I would agree to that at some point. What you have to keep in mind is make sure that the servicer's keeping the borrower's feet to the fire. If it's a habit of 50 days and they do it consistently, eventually at some point it starts to grow to 60 days to 90 days. And as a lender, you can't let that happen. You've got to keep the servicer really pushing that borrower to, hey, start paying, pay something. Tell us what the situation is. Do we need to get caught? Because the borrower is then getting late fees. I mean, that works in your favor a little bit, but still, you've got to hold the borrower's feet to the fire to make things happen. So, but I think it's a good stop for the day on our episode here, everybody. I think it's helped out with a lot of stuff, good stuff. Like I said, if you'd like to get tickets to our virtual note buying workshop this weekend, we did a solar sale, flash sale yesterday with it being the solar eclipse day. I'll extend it another day for $4.99. So we'll drop $200 off the normal $6.99 price for people if they're interested. You can sign up once again if you're a first I was gonna say first offender, but no, first responder or pastor, present military. Drop me an email at scott@weclosenuts.com. We'll be glad to comp you in as our way of saying thanks. So once again, can't make it for all 3 days. Don't worry about it. It's recorded. And so you can catch the replays the following week once we get them up and running for everybody to watch the replays. Because I know we go through a lot of information in 3 days. It is drinking from a fire hose with our speakers and the content we provide. So we look forward to hopefully seeing you all there. We're at over like 110, 115 signups for it already. And we'll probably be closer to 200 once we wrap up here in the next couple of days. So have a great day. Go make something happen. For those of you guys that are listening to us on iTunes, make sure to go out and leave us a comment or rank us. Love to get your feedback on what you think about the show and how we can best help you in your path down to financial independence and financial freedom through note investing. So have a great day, everybody. We'll see you all at the top. Bye.